Yeah, hi, hello. I'm coming with the second part of the video about the ancestor healing. I haven't actually added some of the useful information, very important. So that's actually basically top-up video after the last one. First things, what I want to actually encourage people to actually have an interview with your family, your parents first, and your grandparents if you can, of course, and great grandparents if you actually can, because obviously all that information can be excellent and very beneficial to actually look into the area of our life when basically we're not thriving. It's basically a blockage, etc. Ask for basically any traumatic events, abortion, childbirth, difficult childbirth, and maybe somebody was murdered or maybe deceived, losing your money, etc. So that can be actually benefited, and if you add all this kind of information together, that obviously you can actually see the picture of actually your life and when it's basically a massive blockage. Like I said before in my previous video, this all basically trauma and wounds pass through our generation, through our DNA, our genetic code, which is called epigenetic, and like I said, can be excellent and very beneficial um, for our own healing and actually looking into our own life when it's basically we have a blockage, like I said before. The other things what I actually want to actually touch to is I would actually encourage people to look into the work of these two scientists. First is Joe Dispenza, is a neuroscientist. I hope I pronounce his name very well. Uh, is actually talk about the epigenetic and then how we actually evolve as children through not only obviously through our past life genetic code passing through on past generation, but also through modeling. That's obviously very important, but obviously that's covered by psychology. When we basically listen our parents, how they talk about money, relationship, love, work, etc. And then obviously we take that to ourselves, and breaking off from that, it can be very, very difficult. I came from the family when they value work. You have to work for somebody, and to me, it's worse than dying. Really, to me, working for myself and being free, that's the most valued things. But obviously, breaking off from that modeling and like kind of brainwashing from my family is very difficult. But obviously it's really worth it. You have to just tap into who you really are and to you basically coming back to yourself. The other work, excellent work, is Bruce Lipton, is PhD American biologist, and again he talked about epigenetic and our genetic code and stem cells. I am a scientist myself, and to me always the stem cells were kind of like a mind-blowing things, and how we can actually affect our body, ourselves, through our brain, through our actually conscious thinking, and how we can transform that. So I would just highly encourage people to look into that, because it's just absolutely fascinating stuff and fascinating things to actually study and then look into. I just want to share a little bit of my experience, how this actually play into my life, this all genetic code passing through different generation. So I actually don't know anything about it, but for example, unconsciously, I'm absolutely in love with German people on Germany. I actually come from Poland, and actually most Polish people actually have this massive wound after World War II, because Poland suffered a lot from Germany after World War II and during World War II. And actually, I unconsciously have this kind of like immense of love and just like not understandable, because I don't know really any German people. I actually met a couple German people here in England, and I actually become friends with them. But this is kind of like unexplainable consciously. So I assume there must be some of my ancestors who actually went through war and actually experienced so much benefit and help from that kind of people from that country. The other things we can say is I unconsciously frightened of Russian people. for no reason. Again, I haven't experienced anything bad myself, so it's a subconscious, unconscious thing. Again, potentially my family come from a situation, maybe went through a situation where they actually experienced so much abuse from that kind of people, from that country. And potentially it's true, because after war, when basically Poland was handed on a silver platter to Russian, and they just basically create this communistic country, then I'm sure there are lots of Polish people suffer lots of abuse after that. And maybe even during the war, like my grandmother, etc. So that's one thing. The other things, I live in England, and actually what happened, Brexit triggered lots of actually wants in me, again, from past generation. Some of my family lived here, and potentially they experienced some not pleasant things living here after war, maybe during war. Again, that's unexplainable. That's something subconscious, and again, live in this genetic code, which is passed through generation to generation. We don't really aware of that, but then can be absolutely fascinating to actually research that and actually look how this affects our life, and how can we basically clear that off, and basically be more thriving in the area when we actually having being stuck or not really moving forward. The last things what I want to actually say, obviously we can work on that via family constellation, which I actually highly encourage people to do. Is lots of options are viable. If somebody needs it, I can recommend obviously person who I work with. He is absolutely excellent person, excellent guy. I must say this experience, this family constellation, can be very difficult to go through, because your body went through your body went through like all different, can go through all different sensation. When I went for my first family constellation, I was just all over the place. I was just feel this numbing, this just like a bit like I'm going crazy, and this is lots of releasing from your body, and then can be very difficult, very triggering. And I would highly encourage to work with people who actually can trust and are gentle and very caring and giving. That's very important. And actually explain what's really happened to you, because if we don't know really what's happening, that can be even equally triggering. Because like I said, if a family member, ancestor went through massive trauma like murder or anything like torture, then if we're carrying that things and we actually releasing that, that can be very, very traumatic for us as well, and very difficult if we don't understand what's really happening to us, because our body releasing that, and then we need to know what's really happening. And the other things what I would actually encourage people, if they don't really want to, are not ready or don't call to go to family constellation, I would just encourage people to go through meditation stage. I meditate a lot. And then if you meditate and tap into this energy when you're actually having problem with, for example, work, money, business, etc., relationship, just basically in tune into that energy and look for the person who actually appear on a picture. Basically when you close your eyes, like a vision. And then basically that's when the problem leave. That's when the trauma leave. And if you obviously work, and tap into that energy. Also, you actually try to tap into the sensation in your body when you feel tightness, like in your stomach, or maybe in your heart center, or maybe in your throat, etc. And try to breathe into that area, and that's really helping to release that kind of trauma. Because if you feel tightness, that means that's when the trauma base, and then if it was passed through our past generation. Then obviously we still carry that, and our body feel that, and then can be really fascinating stuff to work with. So I think that's really all what I want to say. I hope that was helpful, and if anybody needs obviously information, you can just comment below, and then I can obviously pass the information where to go with basically trying family constellation, etc. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I see you next time. Bye.